There is a place in Mexico spoken of in hushed, fearful tones. It is not a city or a state, it is a prison, Altiplano, a Supermax fortress designed to be a living tomb, a place where legends of the criminal underworld are sent to be forgotten. For 20 years, one legend refused to fade. Javier El Serpiente Rios, the Serpent, a founding father of the old guard cartels. He was a myth, a man who had outlived his enemies, his friends, and his own empire. But in the sterile, silent hell of Altiplano, time is the ultimate enemy. A new generation of violent, impulsive narcos was rising, and they saw the Serpent not as a legend, but as a relic. This is the story of an old king's final brutal war, fought not for territory or money, but for the one thing a man in his position has left: his name. It is a story of how a dying legend proved that even a cornered serpent has one last lethal bite. Javier El Serpiente Rios ruled his small corner of Altiplano through respect and reputation. He was a dinosaur from an era of unspoken codes and brutal but calculated violence. His power was quiet, derived from his immense network on the outside, and the fear his name still commanded. He survived by being smarter, quieter, and more patient than anyone else. The prison's suffocating silence was his ally. Then came El Cuchillo, the knife. A young, reckless sicario leader from a New Age cartel, imprisoned after a spectacularly violent series of public assassinations. El Cuchillo saw Altiplano not as a tomb, but as a networking opportunity, a place to build his brand. He despised the old ways. He saw the Serpent's quiet dignity as weakness. He wanted to make a name for himself by dethroning the king. El Cuchillo's campaign was one of psychological warfare. He disrupted the silent, rigid routine of the prison block with loud music and taunts. He had his men on the outside intimidate the families of guards who were loyal to the Serpent, sending them anonymous, threatening messages. He began poaching the Serpent's allies, offering them a future in his new, rising empire, one that wasn't fading into history. An old, loyal inmate who refused to flip was found brutally murdered in the showers, a clear and bloody message from El Cuchillo. The war had begun. The Serpent knew he couldn't win a war of attrition. El Cuchillo had more men, more money, and less to lose. So he planned one final masterful move, the kind of strategic play that had earned him his name decades ago. He used his last remaining outside contact, a lawyer he had trusted for 30 years, to leak information, not to the police but to a rival cartel, El Cuchillo's sworn enemies. The information was a detailed map of El Cuchillo's family's safe houses. The very locations he bragged were untouchable. Simultaneously, inside Altiplano, he used his deep understanding of the prison's rigid protocols to his advantage. He knew that any major incident on the outside involving an inmate's family would result in that inmate being immediately isolated for his own protection. The night El Cuchillo's family was attacked by the rival cartel, chaos erupted. As predicted, the guards came for El Cuchillo to move him to solitary confinement. This was the moment the Serpent had been waiting for, the culmination of his life's experience in strategy and patience. As the guards escorted a screaming, enraged El Cuchillo down the empty, sterile corridor, the Serpent stepped out of his cell. A guard, paid off not with money but with the promise that his own family would be protected by the Serpent's old guard, looked the other way for 5 seconds. It was all the time the Serpent needed. There was no shiv, no loud struggle. The old man moved with a silent, shocking speed that defied his age. In the soundproofed corridor of Altiplano, the Serpent ensured the loudmouthed sicario lived up to the name of a different legend, El Silenciero. El Cuchillo was found dead in his isolation cell hours later, the official cause a sudden heart attack brought on by stress. Everyone in the prison knew the truth. The Serpent had won his last war. He cemented his legend, but it cost him everything. His outside network was shattered, his last resources spent. He was truly alone, a king with no kingdom, just a concrete throne. He died of natural causes 6 months later, a forgotten relic to the outside world. But in the silent, concrete corridors of Altiplano, he remains a myth, the old Serpent who reminded everyone that legends never die quietly. The story of Javier Rios shows that in prison, the most dangerous battles are often not for freedom, but for a legacy. If you found this story compelling, please hit the like button and subscribe to Prison Files. Ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. What prison should we investigate next? Let us know in the comments below.